dumber than dumb. Literally, dumber than dumb. That's what some of these coaches are in both college and the NFL. And you saw it again yesterday. And guys, I mean, I know we're in the sports wagering business, but you betting these games on your own. Good luck, man. That's like jumping off a boat when you're cut and bleeding in shark-infested waters. That's what this is like. This is the Taking Vegas podcast. I am Chris Hodge. It is Monday. I am joined by none other than Gene Daly. Does our radio show with us on Saturdays and Sundays. Look, we could do a recap. Let's get to what Cleveland did. Let's just get to them. Okay? Here's the situation. You're at the 12-yard line. There's 2 minutes and 2 seconds left. It's first down. You run a play. You don't tell your running back to not score, so he doesn't know that. Furthermore, Gene, if they just kneel down for 3 plays, yes, the first play is going to bring you to the 2-minute warning, but the next two, 40 off, couple seconds for the play, spot the ball, you would have literally 25 seconds left.
Mm-hmm.
You kick a field goal, or you just run. Now you run a play, and the Jets would maybe have 17, 18 seconds to go 85 yards.
Yep.
With no timeouts?
Yep.
Is this not the dumbest, most bird brain decision you've ever seen? It's got to be up there.
And they're becoming more pronounced week in and week out. So all I can say, listen, Chris, I mean, we scratch our heads all the time. You know, now we talked about it in last week on both shows on Saturday and Sunday. I mean, what do you got to start? I mean, we're handicapping. We used to handicap referees. We used to handicap other variables that fell into play in any particular game. Now you gotta handicap coaches.
And he blows the cover. They're up by 7, laying 6.5. Right?
It's just unbelievable.
They scored a touchdown and they missed the extra point. Like literally, you know what it is? See, the Jets were gifted a win because those are two putrid organizations. And look, it is what it is. You guys in New York who are Jet fans and Cleveland who are Brown fans, you guys know your organizations are less than desirable. That was like a Jets Browns game literally could not end any differently than that.
Well, they call, what do they call Cleveland? The mistake by the lake.
That's what they call it?
The mistake by the lake.
One title in God knows when.
The mistake by the lake. The Jets reside in the state of New Jersey, which is at times called the armpit of America. So, I mean, listen, I don't know what to say. I don't know how these guys... maybe these guys are just so caught up in these gorilla rhythms, whatever you want to call them.
We're going to get to that. The algorithms, the biorhythms, the megametrics.
I mean, who cares? I mean, when does you know what? I got it. I just figured it out. We are living right now in a time where common sense is just void. It doesn't mean anything no more. Common sense is just void in just about every aspect of life. So, I mean, I don't know what to say anymore. How do you lose a game like that? I do know one thing. We talk about these, we're 2 weeks into the into pro football right now.
Yeah.
And the suicide pools.
Yeah. Like 75% gone.
How about this? Guys are committing suicide over these pools.
It's crazy, man.
Because you can't fathom what these coaches are doing on a weekly basis.
So yesterday, there were 3 teams
with 20-point leads, you're going to talk?
20-point leads.
Yeah.
And not one of them covered. 2 of them lost the game.
That's amazing.
And those are 20-point leads in the second half.
That's amazing.
And the Rams did everything in their power to lose that game.
Mm-hmm.
Block, punt. And look, I blame Stafford. Stafford won a Super Bowl. Okay, fine, well and good. Great. He still does stupid stuff. They're up 28-3 yesterday. All you got to do is control the ball. Don't throw an interception. Don't do anything stupid. Even if you punt the ball back to Atlanta, you get them inside the 10, you're still in good shape. What's he do? Throws a touchdown. A couple plays later, throws an interception. A couple plays later, touchdown.
Stafford, for all the good things he did last year, he did lead the league in interceptions again.
Yeah, and he throws a lot of them, man.
He got a little bit of Eli in him.
He throws a lot of them.
I mean, Eli kind of threw a lot of interceptions too. Granted, he was the Fugazi Emerald, you should say, for the New England Patriots all those years.
We spoke about this on the show, right? We said be aware of the double-digit favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's another one tonight. A double-digit favorite, Rams, don't cover. Double-digit Broncos favorite, damn near lose the game. They were losing that game for a good way. So those were your two double-digit favorites in the NFL on Sunday. Now you got a double-digit favorite tonight in Buffalo.
Like, is it too early to say? Maybe Denver bought. They got
buyer's remorse.
Yeah, I mean
Well, Judy getting hurt doesn't help them. But look, Russell Wilson. I don't know. These guys get a lot of money. I don't understand why.
Looks like it might be a bill of goods. I don't know. I could be wrong.
But how about Tua and Lamar yesterday putting up a great game?
Yeah,
they both of those guys put up a great offensive game.
But I think the one thing about Tua, and I was with some people and we were watching the game, and I said to them, I said, for all his shortcomings as far as throwing the long ball and being able to throw that long out for either side of the field, he's got two guys that if you put them in space and you give them the ball,
just get them the ball.
They're both great after the catch.
Just get them the ball.
Yeah,
and you
both
see, this is what I always complain about with the Jets. They never did this, man. Like you saw it happen with Buffalo. Josh Wilson they go get him Stephon Diggs, right? Mm-hmm. And his numbers go up. And what does Miami go do? They go get him. They go get them Tyreek Hill, and they get him Waddle. And all of a sudden, look at his numbers this year.
Well, you know.
And I said Josh Wilson. I meant Josh Allen.
Is inept as the probably Jets play calling is, because the play calling isn't all that good. Let's be honest. They got a kid on that team that if they could free him up, Berrios is a player. He can make plays.
Listen, they're good, but they got some players. But look,
but
the Jets that's fool's gold, by the way, because the Jets are supposed to lose that game. Jets are supposed to be
without a doubt. But Cleveland is Cleveland,
and the Raiders. Up 20-0 at halftime. That
kicking the snot out of that team too.
That's another unlosable game. So you're seeing this happen, and I said it in the open. You're seeing this happen, and if you're betting without knowing where the smart money is going right now, I mean, you might as well just give up.
Well, this is Josh McDaniel's second go around as a head coach, right?
Yeah.
So maybe he's just a coordinator.
Maybe he is.
So
let's talk about. I know you were texting me on Saturday night. Because, and look, we had a good day on Saturday. We won 3 out of our 4 games. We hit with Washington. They get the job done over Michigan State. We hit with Oregon. They got the job done over BYU. Syracuse was a back-and-forth type affair. The play went all way late, so we win that game. We lose at Western Michigan. We also had a bonus play on USC, but 3-1 mainly for the guys that were playing throughout the day. But you texted me, and then you shot me a call, and it's so unbelievable because these coaches, if you look at what the guy on Northern Illinois did against Vanderbilt.
Inside his own 40-yard line, not once, twice in consecutive series.
Up 28-14, and they screw that up because
inside the 30, then inside the 40.
Here's what aggravates me about these coaches, right? Because it's like 2 different games. And this goes for the NFL too. The game they're playing in September, where they're going for it at the 46, their own 46 or their own 38 or whatever they're trying to do. When they get to the playoffs, they don't do this shit. They don't do it.
They're buying into it. This is all the algorithms.
But look what Belichick did yesterday. Belichick was punting the ball from their 40 because he knew Pittsburgh couldn't score.
Yeah.
He played it smart. But you're texting me, these coaches, they'll make one decision, right? They'll go for it at, like, I don't know, fourth down at their own 44. But then when they're at their own 42, they punt the ball on 4th and 1. It's like they have no rhyme or reason for what they're doing.
At that point, they're looking to pin somebody. And at that point in time, it's kind of ridiculous when you think about it because all you got to do is put the ball up. And if you're smart, listen, even if you got to call a timeout, say, listen, here's what we're going to do. We're going to throw the ball up in the air. Okay, let's say we have 4th and 8 from the 42-yard line going in. Okay? So we're going to put the ball up in the air. What I want you to do is I want you to go out for the ball. I want you to come back, make a little bit of contact because they love throwing flags. These refs love throwing flags. And it's a non-reviewable play.
Yeah.
And here you go. You're going to get a first down because somebody just, gave you a little bit of love tap.
You know what I'm seeing, though? You saw it. It was a couple weeks ago, and I don't mean to go back, but Gene made a phenomenal point to me. It was the opening weekend of the season. There was a Boston College Rutgers game. I spoke about this on the podcast.
Oh, my God.
Boston College is down 1 with about 1 minute and 50 seconds to go and 1 timeout, and they have 4th and 25. And we were watching the game together, and you were like, the only play here is to give up a touchdown. Mm-hmm. Like, you thought about it in that moment, in that, like, They lined up the punt, and you and I are both thinking, because here's the funny part about that. You and I were on the under in that game. So a touchdown there screws us. That puts us over.
Correct.
But the right move, so we have no horse. We're telling you the right move is to allow a touchdown. You thought about it. I looked up, and I said, wow, that makes a whole lot of sense. And when they punted the ball, you and I looked at each other like, what are these coaches thinking?
I don't know. I don't know.
It doesn't even make sense right now. Like they have no thought.
These teams, I don't know. Years ago, what did they do? They had time clock managers, right? The NFL started bringing in time clock managers, right?
Yep.
To watch the clocks, because a lot of times these coaches are so pre-consumed with the game going on, they lose sight of the timeouts, whatever the case is. Shouldn't there be a guy on the sidelines next to the coach, like just jabbing him in the ribs or something, say, no, we got to do this, we got to do that.
Like, stop being an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, because they get caught up in the game.
Oh, I tell you, man. This was really a crazy weekend. The games yesterday was so insane and then Saturday as well. There was a lot of nonsense that went on Saturday. Florida was life or death with South Florida. Florida just beat Utah a couple weeks ago. Yeah. They were life or death with South Florida. Life or death with them. Georgia lost 8 players off their defense last year. 8. They haven't given up a touchdown yet this year.
But didn't they have 9 guys drafted in the first 2 rounds, or maybe 9 guys in the first round, something like that?
But overall, there are 11 defensive main players last year that won a national title. They lost 8 of them. They haven't given up a touchdown this year.
You want one team I want to talk about, and I want our listeners to keep an eye on them, because I know this team and I know their MO better than anybody. The Wisconsin Badgers, when they play a game, okay, they might win 50% of them. They probably win 40% of them. When they play a tough opponent, okay, more times than not, they don't win. But when they play a team they can kick the snot out of, they are the greatest bullies in college football. They swamp teams.
That they're supposed to swamp?
When you see them, they're 30-point, 32-point. Not that we would ever play a game like that, but when you see them with a line like that, they swamp those teams because they are the bully on the block, but they are, you know what they say about bullies, you just got to smack them once.
And look, I don't mean to be all over the place with this podcast. It's Monday and it's just so much to talk about, but I really do want to bring up, like, just how bad, again, to touch on it, how bad the coaches are in the NFL. Let's just go down the line. Let's start with the darling of the league right now, Nathaniel Hackett. This guy, I hate guys like this, man, because it was probably just Aaron Rodgers, right? When he was the OC in Green Bay, he probably stunk. Rodgers knew he stunk, and Rodgers just does what Rodgers does, and this guy goes and gets a head coaching job.
Yeah.
Denver looks terrible.
They're not that good. Maybe they're not that. And listen, they made a lot of adjustments. They got a lot of new pieces there, too.
They look terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, to be out-coached. He was out-coached by Lovie Smith yesterday. He was out. If Lovie Smith if you just switched the teams, if you gave the Houston Texans that type of talent and Denver was Houston, Lovie Smith would have blown the doors off of him yesterday.
Well, you know what? Let's talk about what's going on tonight. I mean, we're in agreement. Mike Vrabel has got to be probably the most. I don't care.
Overrated.
I don't care what his record says. He's an overrated coach.
Overrated.
You talk about a guy that makes nonsensical calls. You can't. You get lost watching a game with him at times.
Finds a way to lose last year in the playoffs to Cincinnati, and when they were the number 1 seed.
Yep.
Right? By the way, he lost to the Jets last year in a game he shouldn't have lost.
Yeah.
He loses some games he has no business losing, then finds a way to lose to the Giants in the season opener, where the Giants did everything wrong. I don't care that the Giants are 2-0. Giants did everything wrong in that first game. Finds a way to lose that. And now but we talked about this, the double-digit favorite. Double-digit favorite's not a scary proposition in the NFL.
Listen, they could very easily be 0-2 after tonight's game.
They very easily could be, but are they going to cover the 10? That's what everyone's wondering. So here at TakingVegas.com, you can give us a call at 888-994.
And what's the status on Hilliard? Is he out tonight?
You didn't want me to give out the phone number there, did you?
Oh, I'm sorry.
888-994-6669. That's 888-994-6669. We got this play absolutely free. Also on TakingVegas.com, you could just fill out the sheet there, and you'll get Buffalo and Tennessee for free. I want to touch on one more head coach before we move along, because this guy, every friggin' year, man, every year I look at this guy and I don't know how he does what he does with the guy from the Chargers, Staley. on one of the worst. They're another super talented team. They will lose games in spite of him because of him. They really will lose games because of him. He is that bad of a coach. It's gone on forever with this guy.
When he went for the 7 instead of, I mean, great. For the people that had the Chargers that night, it worked in their favor because the line was 3.5 and 4 in most
Forget
places.
covering the spread, though. I mean, yeah, they covered, but I'm just talking about.
But if
winning.
he misses there, he's out.
Why doesn't he kick the field goal?
I don't know.
It's amazing. And then McDaniels, we touched on him. McDaniels up 20-0 and just plays like the game's over. Plays like the game is over. Just another bird-brained, stupid move.
Hey, Josh, life's a lot easier when you got Tom Brady throwing a ball for you.
Yeah, and you got Bill Belichick taking the fall and all that.
It makes you look real good out there.
How do you think the 49ers are feeling right now that they got Garoppolo? How bad would have that looked? If they got rid of him and this kid goes down with an injury, you never want to see anyone get hurt. But that might. So now here's the question, right? And before we get to this free pick, here's the question. If Garoppolo goes on to have a really good season, now what? Now what? Now what do you do?
What is he, 31?
The guy wins games, man. He's not in the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, but there's no saying Trey Lance would have been anyway.
Right.
But the guy wins. You know how hard it is to win a damn game in the NFL? It's hard. Go ask these teams yesterday that blew 20-point leads. It's hard.
Trent Dilfer and Brad Johnson won
Super Bowls.
Won Super Bowls.
Yeah, won Super Bowls.
They won Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Case closed.
It could be done.
I think he's better than both of those guys, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I do too. That's a good comparison.
I mean, he's won 70% of his games as a starter.
I mean, again, what are you doing wrong, right? If you win in the NFL, like, what are you doing wrong? It's hard to win, and that's why I don't get it. You know, I really don't. You know, you look at the Saints with Jameis Winston. He played terrible yesterday.
He stinks. Listen, I'm going out on a limb. He stinks.
Yeah,
he stinks.
He threw 30 interceptions. It's funny because as soon as they got rid of him, they win the Super Bowl, Tampa Bay, and then Brady goes and beats him again. You know, and then bad job by the Bengals too, by the way. That's bad job by them, man. That's a bad job.
Well, they fought a wounded animal.
This kid, Michael Parsons, is going to be the Defensive Player of the Year.
It's the closest thing to LT I've seen in a long time.
Next podcast, we'll get you the odds on that, and we'll do that.
Khalil Mack in his great days didn't have nothing on this kid. Nothing.
No. Let's talk about Minnesota and Philadelphia real quick. These are two teams with not only playoff aspirations, they both have them, but these are two teams with Super Bowl aspirations. These two teams feel like they have talent on their field, or on the team, to make it to the Super Bowl. Both of these teams do.
Listen, Philly's improved tremendously over the last calendar year. I don't know about Jalen Hurts winning the Super Bowl.
I don't know about Kirk Cousins either. I'm not saying they're going to win the damn Super Bowl. What I'm saying is these two teams have aspirations of making it to that game. Yeah, I mean, so this is a good litmus test for them
to win a national title, so I guess he knows how to win a big game.
I don't count that. Really? We're going to go with Alabama national titles? The kid on Georgia won a national title. He won't take one snap in the NFL.
Yeah, that's for sure.
What was that thing you told me? What was it last week? What was it? Three schools with Super Bowl winning quarterbacks? What was that?
What was it?
3 schools with Super Bowl winning. 3 schools that had 3.
Oh, 3. There were 2 schools that had 3 Super Bowl winning quarterbacks.
2 schools.
Alabama's one of them.
Alabama is one of them.
All right, name it. Stabler. And
BYU was one of them,
and
right?
Bart Starr. No, BYU had
2. Right.
But the other one, which was kind of obscure, but they've had great quarterbacks in and out of there. And the kid there, listen, you know what? The kid there that played there last weekend at Purdue, that's the other team, with Len Dawson, Bob Greasy,
and Brees.
Drew Brees.
Yeah.
That kid, he's going to get a look in the NFL. He's got a kid.
A stupid play.
He's got a wide receiver on that team.
That's good. Yeah.
That can ball. That kid
Purdue
can
has
ball.
some talent. Purdue has some talent. Syracuse really, they were back and forth. Purdue really gave them that game. I'm telling you right now, we're gonna look at the over in this game. I noticed some weather in Philadelphia. You know, it's a little windy. Nothing. It's not beautiful. It's not a beautiful night. But I just think this game. I just think the offense is gonna win the day here. I think Philly has too much talent on offense. You know, they couldn't really get Detroit off the field last week, right? They were up, and they couldn't really get Detroit off the field. They gave up 35 points to the Lions.
A.J. Brown is a big – talk about a guy that can catch and run.
That helps.
How did Tennessee let that guy go?
Yeah, that helps. And then, look, Minnesota, not a great offensive performance against Green Bay, but Green Bay has a very good defense. But, you know, we're going to see – I think we're going to see a jump offensively in this game between both teams. I think Philadelphia is going to even play a better offensive game than they played last week against Detroit. They might not score as much, but I think they're going to be more efficient. And I think the Vikings are going to – I literally think both teams will be right around 30 points, like 31-27, something like that.
I want to go on – I'm going out on a limb one more time here. I think the NFL has got to readdress what they did during the preseason because – I'm telling teams still don't look ready.
No, they don't.
They don't look ready.
They don't.
I mean, you know, to be into week 3 and you're not ready yet, that's not a good. You're putting a bad product on the field.
Well, let's go down the list, right? So the Panthers-Giants game was a terrible offensive game.
Okay,
it was a terrible game. Brady didn't play a great game. Yes, they beat him, but he didn't play a great game. That was a terrible offensive game. Now Miami and Baltimore was a terrible defensive game.
Right.
Yeah, guys running all over the field. Patriots and Steelers, bad offensive game. Jets and Browns might have been overall.
It was an entertaining
game.
It
was the most entertaining game. I think the Colts can't get out of their own way. They got shut out against the Jaguars.
I think you could put a fork in Ryan.
You can.
Put a fork in him.
Lions and Commanders, very high-scoring game. Good game, but the Lions really controlled that game the whole way. Seattle only scored on a special teams play, right? They didn't look good. And Geno Smith, like, everyone was, Geno Smith, great week 1. Then he throwing interceptions all over the place.
That's the Geno Smith we remember.
That's the guy. Falcons and Rams, okay, it is what it was, 31-27, but really it was 28-3 midway through the third quarter beside the Rams decided to go away and not do anything. And then the Broncos and the Texans, terrible offensive game. And Cincinnati didn't even look like they could move the ball.
No, I don't know what's going on there.
They had nothing going on. So, I mean, there were some bad offensive games. And to your point, you know, I think the preseason has to be looked at, but these guys are never going to vote for that in the CBA. So it is what it is. Guys, over tonight, Vikings, Eagles. Go to takingvegas.com if you're not already on the site. You can get a free play as well on Tennessee and Buffalo. We'll be back on Friday with the pro football, college football weekend breakdown. Have a great Monday, everyone. Thanks for listening to us here on the Taking Vegas podcast. And, guys, be sure to check out takingvegas.com. Have a great day.